Hey, what is up, guys? Today I'm doing a Call of Duty video, and it'll be COD tips and tricks. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. Starting it off, the stock buttons for aiming and shooting are L2 and R2 if you're on PS4. I think it's better if you use L1 and R1. It's because the time, if you press it, is much less, and I just think it's a lot better if you use L1 and R1. And I just think it's better. So if your reaction time is already really good and you use these buttons, you're gonna be a god, not gonna lie. But yeah, that's tip number 1. Tip 2 is actually if you're just playing and you're using a gun that you don't certainly like, if you like it but you're just not feeling it that day, experiment with new guns, different guns. Maybe say you're using an AR, maybe try and use a SMG. It's just better that way, so you may find a new favorite gun doing that. So experiment with new guns, and yeah, that's tip 2. Alright, so for tip 3, we're actually going to switch over to Warzone for now. You could still use those first 2 tips in Warzone. I was just saying we're going to switch over to Warzone based tips and tricks. So I think when you're playing Warzone, always never use vehicles. I mean, if you have to get to the circle, sure, you can use vehicles. But if you're in the circle and you're okay, you're okay. You don't need to drive vehicles for now. Maybe, like, I would only use vehicles if it's certainty you have to get into the circle. Even if you can run into the circle, I recommend that. It's just much more safer without it. And yeah. Tip 4 is actually for Warzone still. It actually relates to the first one. If you are going to use a vehicle to get into the circle or whatnot, always put a trophy system on it if you have a trophy system. And it's just so much better using a trophy system because it avoids rockets, grenades, C4, all of that, which is much more better for your safety. So yeah, that is tip number 4. Alright, this is gonna kind of be a 2-in-1 tip and trick. So if I don't recommend buying your loadout, but if you love buying your loadout, get it as soon as you can. But if you're not really into that, I recommend waiting for the first one to drop after the first circle, because it saves your money. And if you get your loadout first, I mean, that is much better. But I do believe it's still good if you buy it. I think it's still good, but I just recommend waiting for the first circle. Tip number 5 or 6, I think. You could consider it 7 since the last one was 2, but actually this one, it's use good guns in your loadout. I recommend the Grau, M4, I actually think the Grau is a little bit better than the M4, but if you love the M4, I'm not gonna tell you what's right and what's wrong, but I think the M4 is a little bit under par of the Grau. But there's actually 2 secondaries that I recommend. It's the MP5. I'll have a class coming out on the MP5, Grau, M4, all those later. And then the next secondary I recommend is either Ace. Any sniper that you like, I recommend the AX50 or HDR. I am personally an AX50 fan, but if you are an HDR fan, I recommend using the HDR. I run a sniper on all my class loadouts. I've tried using either the MP5 for a secondary, and I just like a sniper better. So, I mean, if you like an MP5, go for it. I'll have a class coming out on all of those later. But, yeah, that's tips and tricks number 7. I'm going to have another 2-in-1 deal right now. I think this is going to be a last tips and tricks. But, actually, the best landing spots, I personally think, are, I really like near airport where those little I don't know what you could call those, maybe like kind of bunkers, but they're numbered. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. They're near airport, but I really love landing at those spots. Also, you can the best landing spots, I think, are places that'll have like 2 or 3 people landing there, but not necessarily super hot. But also, I really like using scavengers right off the rip. And that'll be the last tip of the video. Thank you for watching the video, and yeah, peace.